So I think everyone brings to the panel his day-to-day and some of the data. So we work with about 8,500 customers. A lot of them are the biggest one, like AT&T, Bank of America, etc. So what we're seeing around social is that they are entering that arena. They're monitoring closely everything that's happening. So they're using a lot of monitoring tools to get the data and insights of what related to their brand. They're reacting in this social arena, but it's very difficult for them to measure the ROI from social. Now, from the other side, around mobile, we're seeing that these brands are investing a lot into their mobile capabilities and also seeing the ROI, because they can measure easily already today the value they get from it. So I think these kind of things like buy button that Twitter or Facebook bringing in, I think they're going to make an impact, but it's not something yet that we're seeing as companies jumping on and understanding their investment. This is at least what we're seeing.
I think behind every consumer, every buyer, there is a seller. And if the seller knows how to reach the buyer and approach the buyer where they are, the right place, at the right time, with the right message, with the right offering, then the answer would be yes. It's not about the button. Behind every button is a customer. And behind every customer, there is a potential seller. If you can match that, if you can match the two, then the answer is, of course, this makes sense and this will increase traffic.
So at eBay, we've also been doing quite a bit of experimentation with social over time. And one of the things that we've found is that in the right context, of the shopping context, social can actually be a very powerful tool. So last year, we launched something called eBay Collections, which essentially allows anybody on the site to create a curated collection of items on eBay. And essentially, people can follow each other's collections. We brought industry leaders who are curators and fashion leaders to come and create collections on the site. So today, if you come to eBay, come to the eBay homepage, you can find a curated collection by folks like Pharrell Williams and a lot of other fashion leaders and opinion leaders. And what we found is that this creates a whole new layer of engagement on top of eBay, and it really inspires users to dig much deeper. So, for example, finding really interesting, unique items on eBay, curating them to say this item would go really well with this one. So in this case, social we found to be a great engagement tool, but we think that industry-wide requires ongoing experimentation.
So I want to say two things. First of all, from the perspective of social companies like Facebook and Twitter, right now the amount of commerce-oriented discussions and posts that I see on Facebook every day is staggering. So you get everything from people asking for recommendations on professionals, to people posting stuff for sale, to everything from real estate, cars. The discussion about commerce and consumerism is very, very heavy on social networks, and Facebook and Twitter are not harnessing that right now to their own benefit. I think that would be a very scary thing for e-commerce companies like eBay or Amazon if they decide to go that route. On the other hand, companies like Happy Sale, we are gambling big on social commerce, and Happy Sale is using...
I want to agree with Doron and Guy here, and I think what's interesting was it's all about the approach, and I tell you what I think. The big problem of the social world was the lack of intention, and I give you the example. Why search is so good for e-commerce? Because search world have the intention around it. When I come and I'm looking for black wedding dress on Google, basically I'm in the mood and the intention to oriented to buy now and acquire what I want, so I look for it. And this is why the search world was so good. Social is a different attitude. I'm in the social, I'm having fun, I'm investigating, I'm looking, I'm taking my friends. I'm not in the right mood in the intentions for acquiring. So I think that, I'm not sure if buy now is the right approach for that, but I think that the example that Guy gave is an amazing example of how eBay took this way of build interesting collection that I can share with my friends. This is interesting, and then I can go to my friend. See, we're seeing a few companies out there getting this approach. One amazing example is a company from the UK called Asaf. It's one of the biggest clothing selling online company. Amazing company. So they took this approach and they built a whole website called fashionfinders.asos.com, where users can go pick up the clothes that they want. This is my outfit for a winter day, save it as a page, then share it on the social network. This drove tons of traffic to the website and basically increased dramatically their selling through the social platform. So I think those examples are much better than the buy now button. But I'm happy to see that the social companies are trying all the time to think the right approach for e-commerce in their platform, as though the e-commerce are the biggest advertiser in the online world.
I don't know if you... Okay, so from my perspective...
It's not working? It's working? Okay.
So from my point of view, the social networks allows people to talk and discuss about everything. So the social networks can and do analytics and can classify you, whether you are a premium customer, where you're looking for the best deal, or anything that they can classify. And based on that, they can target a very effective advertisement for you. Beside knowing everything about you, you can tweet, okay, we're getting married. So then you know that this person is getting married then, and based on this, you can push things around weddings. So there is a lot of value in out of context. So people, you can, from my perspective, you need to find the customers when they are in the mood. And when they tweet, they are in the mood to tweet. So, and that brings a lot of value.
You know, one thing that I think this panel is about e-commerce, right? If we think about e-commerce, what have changed in the last 15 years, right? Product pages, funnels, checkout, and I think that's the core issue of e-commerce. It didn't change. 15 years we're buying online in the same way. And I think mobile brought this problem even to the extreme because it's very difficult to buy on mobile, right? We're seeing that with our customers. Their conversion rates, it's much more difficult. This is why they're bringing their own apps. But it's also not that easy. So I think the biggest change that's going to happen is something new will come. Something new that brings an experience focused on mobile, of course, that tailors the in-store experience with the online experience, with the social, and all together in a way that it's much more easier and fun. And forgive me, Google, if I'll say it, but one of the challenges to really make it happen is search. We're all relying on search. And if you rely on search, you have to have product pages. You have to obey the rules from an experience perspective. If not, you won't be indexed correctly. So I think search brought us to a phenomenal place from the internet perspective, but this is one of the blockers today to change e-commerce. Again, don't know what the panel thinks about it, but just a thought we have.
Okay, you mentioned mobile, and I wanted to ask you something about other news that was last week about Apple and the iPhone 6, not about the device itself, but about the mobile payments, what Apple wanted to do, that you can go with your iPhone or a smartwatch or other smart devices that include iOS and go to the shops and pay with this. Many companies in the last few years tried to do mobile payments. Do you think Apple will do it right this time?
Can I answer? I think it's an interesting question. We saw many companies in the past trying to solve the mobile wallet problem. PayPal did a lot of work on that. Google Wallet did a lot of work on that. I think it's a lot of unknown there. Apple can force you to do a lot of things. I doubt if payments would be one of them. So I think that because I think Apple are going to have a lot of hard time to convince people to start using them as a payment gateway. So I think there's not many chances. I feel we're still going to wait a few years until somebody's going to solve it properly.
So I'm going to give my unprofessional opinion on that because I'm not an expert on payments. But I will say this. Apple, over the past more than a decade, has been really good at breaking the ice on markets. So before Apple, touch screens were crap, and then Apple came with the iPhone, and now touch screens are amazing. It's a great experience. It's gotten to the point where kids don't even realize that there could be a screen that's not a touch screen. They try to touch every screen. They did the same for paying in-app purchases. They broke the ice for everyone on in-app purchases, and I don't know where Android stands, but I'm sure Android is going to pass Apple eventually for in-app purchases. What they're doing now, and I love the fact that they're doing it, is that they're breaking the ice for mobile payments. And they're breaking it just like Apple knows how to break the ice for markets. I'm not sure they're going to be market dominator because of that, because you already got companies like Square and others that are doing excellent things and enjoy tremendous growth. But it's going to be a form of tipping point that 3 years from now or 2 years from now, mobile payments are going to be trivial, just like in-app purchases are trivial. And I think that's a huge service that Apple is doing to the entire mobile ecosystem.
So we think that every corporate has a certain DNA and its own DNA, and PayPal's DNA has been payments, and that's been the central focus for the last 15 years. So we think that what's really critical is things to do with trust, creating a solution that's extremely trusted by customers, things making it actually seamless and frictionless, things to do with customer support. PayPal today has about 150 million active digital wallets, and this year has processed over 1 billion mobile payments this year. And so for us, it's about continuing to push that envelope, continue to maintain that excellent customer experience, and we think that ultimately consumers are basically going to show, based on what they're using, what they find to be most compelling.
Asaf?
From my point of view, this move is really, really cool. So if you think of this, Apple sells a very close component that allows everything they want. So they can use the fingerprints and a very dedicated chip inside the machinery in order to validate that it's not being stolen and nobody can forge it. That's a very high security issue that they solved that nobody else really solved. Today, if somebody takes your credit card and can use it, and this approach is much more secure. There is another component around the privacy, if somebody just pay attention to it. So when you do the purchase order, they generate a very a temporal ID of a credit card that's being used specifically for this transaction. So the retailers cannot track about what you're buying. So it's between you and the credit card companies. And that's will open a lot of doors for anybody. And take into consideration that the iPhone buyers are premium users, and they are really paying good cash when they go to shops. So shops would have to have this kind of payment options. Otherwise, it will be excluded from this. So if you just look at the launch of the iPhone 6, they actually said that 80% of the US market will have it in a very short time. Let's say in a few months, 80% of retailers will have it. That's a huge statement and I really believe that it's going to work.